Good morning. Welcome to Daylight with Dean, number 26, I believe it is. And I am so grateful that you have chosen to be here with me this morning. It is May 7th, 2020, and it's a glorious day. I just felt like saying that. Many of you have commented on the items over my right shoulder, to the left of me, if you're looking at me on the screen, which of course you are. A couple things just to note. Yes, the window, when we bought the house, the window sill, the thing that seals the two panes of glass together was broke. And there's moisture in there, and so it's not my camera, it's not your watching device. It is a little hazy window. When we started doing these, the owner of the house before us, his son, reached out to me and let me know that that window has a lifetime guarantee and gave me the company name, and I will be getting in touch with the company and seeing if we have any chance of having that window replaced. Secondly, you may notice on the window ledge there is a red strawberry glass jelly holder, and that is something Leslie has of her grandmother's that was tucked back in a cabinet the other day, and she found it and said, I want to see this every day, so she brought it out. And then on the countertop, Leslie loves cookbooks, and she's very particular about the cookbooks she buys, but when she gets a cookbook that she wants, she reads it like a novel. I mean, she'll just sit down and read it. And it's really fun to watch how much she enjoys that. So she has her cookbooks displayed in the top left-hand corner of the screen. You'll see a few of them up on a shelf, but she's featuring a cookbook, and this is David Rocco, an American that lives in Italy, or lived in Italy, and did a cooking show just out of his house. And Leslie loves Italy and loves all things Italy. It's amazing that she married me, and I don't have an ounce of Italian blood in me, but she loves this cookbook. I wanted you all to enjoy it as well. And then right next to that is Alex Ward's Mother's Day gift to Leslie when he was in kindergarten. It was a picture that he drew of her resemblance and some great things that he shared that he loves about Mom. So that's some of the visual stuff. If you're driving to work, please don't look at your phone. Just please enjoy it later, or just imagine what I'm talking about. The other thing I would invite you to imagine is just how good my coffee is going to taste in a second. This is my first sip of the day. Yesterday I had an entire cup of coffee, which is really about 3 cups of coffee, before I came on and filmed Daylight, and I went 25 minutes yesterday. If you hadn't noticed, I was so excited. And I had bullet points or topics I wanted to cover each day, and I covered 3 of them yesterday. So I only have one topic I want to cover today regarding joy, and I have not had my sip of coffee yet. So first sip of coffee in the morning. So there's a statement that the first time I heard it said was by John Maxwell decades ago, and it's been a statement that has been a staple of my life. Remember yesterday when we were talking about joy, we talked about God's part of creating joy in our soul and the Holy Spirit producing the fruit of joy in us. But then we also talked about our part of thinking good thoughts and thinking the right way and choosing, all of that. And So we talked about God's part and our part. Well, this one is all on us. And here's the statement that I hope that haunts you, or a statement that empowers you. I really do. And that statement is, your attitude is your choice. Your attitude is your choice. The truth in those 5 simple words put together is extremely liberating. Because when you embrace that truth, you are no longer victim to your moods and your attitudes. You have control of your attitude. You really do. I really do. Now, it amazes me how much time people spend trying to control what they don't have any control over. Their spouse, people trying to control their spouse. You don't have any control over your spouse. That might be an overstatement. After I said it, maybe is. But the only person that you have absolute control over is you. And so often we try to control everything else, and we don't control ourselves. And self-control is a big one in Scripture. And the notion that your attitude is your choice is so empowering, because I can choose my attitude. I don't know if you believe me. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but it's a truth that I've lived by. And sometimes I choose to have a really lousy attitude. Now, sometimes we get hangry, sometimes we, are sleep deprived, sometimes, all of those things factor into our physical component of our attitude. But the attitude that we live with is our choice. So when I'm a sourpuss, and when I'm nasty, and when I'm rude, I'm choosing to be that way. When I'm living with a sense of lightheartedness, a sense of whimsy, that's a great word. I've chosen to do that. So let me just give you a simple example, and this is it just happened yesterday. One of the mantras in my marriage with Leslie and I, one of the mantras that we live by is that we choose to be amused instead of annoyed. Because when you're married with somebody, you have the opportunity all day long to choose to be annoyed with them. You can be annoyed that they fill in the blank. You can be annoyed that they blank. My wife is a phenomenal cook. We have this arrangement that she cooks, I clean up, and I put the food away. Sometimes she does put the food away, but that's kind of my job. And yesterday she made a spaghetti dinner, and it was delicious, great spaghetti dinner. And I was loading the dishwasher afterwards, and around the stove was a mess. Spaghetti sauce all over the granite countertop. When we have the little ladles that you can put the spoon in, it was an absolute mess. And I noticed I started to get annoyed. Oh, why can't you just put this spoon on the ladle that rests there to hold the dirty spoon, instead of getting spaghetti sauce all over the countertop? Now listen to me. She just made an amazing meal. And I'm getting annoyed at her For what's my job, it's my job to clean up. I'm getting annoyed at her that she got sloppy and messy when she made spaghetti. And it got real pronounced in my spirit. I'm like, wait a second, Dean. She made an amazing meal, and you have the ability to clean up after this, and that's the agreed upon role of this arrangement. You can choose not to be annoyed. And I did. And we had a great evening together then. I could have just been annoyed and irritated, but I chose not to. And I chose to be amused at myself, that I live with the mantra, choose to be amused, not annoyed. And I was allowing myself to choose to be annoyed. Now, that shows up every day, all day long. And you and I can choose which attitude we take. For the last story, for those of you that watched the sermon Sunday of the river, I used my white Chevy Tahoe as a sermon prop throughout my message. And it was my uncle's car. Tree fell on it, smashed the hood, front windshield, the roof, the sunroof, the back window, but everything else on it is perfect. And the interior, even though it's a 13, 12-year-old car, is pristine and it's beautiful. And so I bought it from him because he chose not to fix it up. And I got the glass fixed, got everything fixed except the sunroof. And I couldn't figure out, because it's dented where the sunroof is, exactly how to fix it. So I cut a piece of metal out that I was going to bolt down on the roof, but I didn't want to drill holes in the roof. And so I got this idea, why don't I get a piece of plexiglass cut and then caulk it, it's 2 inches wider than the opening, caulk it around the opening, put it on there, put metal blocks, very heavy sledgehammer heads and concrete blocks the whole way around it to weigh it down. The caulking said it took 2 full days to dry and cure, and not to expose to water. It's bath and tile caulking, not to expose it to water before then. And so I did this. I put it, so I drove it up to a funeral home near us, a block from our house, with all these blocks on it. And I got permission to park it under their enormous car park, because I have a garage, but of course it's filled with other things like a DeLorean that hasn't run for 35 years and other stuff I've collected. And so I parked it there. 3 days later, I put the last bit of caulking around it, and it dried for a day and a half. And I decided on Monday, it was my day to drive it, enjoy it. I drove it. It's fantastic. I was so excited. Took it to my friends, showed it to them. Well, it wasn't supposed to rain till Tuesday night. So I'm like, well, I've got all this done. I will drive it Tuesday. I will let it be out in the rain Tuesday night. 3 days to dry. I'm good. My daughter had her last day of classes at Grove City yesterday, and now she has her finals this coming week. And her laptop from Grove City, they issue each student a laptop, stopped working. She's at the end of the senior year, her senior year. She's not going to be able to experience her senior year as she wanted. And sorry, I forgot to warn you that one was coming. I could feel it. And I said, you know what, to lighten her load, because she had a lot of stress. Sorry again. I would drive up to Grove City and take her laptop and have them at the technology department fix it. So I decided I'm driving my Tahoe. The thing seals magnificently. It's beautiful. I'm so excited. So I have the headliner open so I can see out the plexiglass. And I'm driving up there. And originally I was told not to do it by a glass company, because they said they wouldn't install that for me that way. And they said that you'd be going down the road and it would just fly off. And I'm like, there is no way that's happening. So I got the piece cut, and then I brought it home, did the whole thing. And I'm driving, and as I'm driving in the rain yesterday, I'm looking on my beautiful clear plexiglass, and I see these white streaks coming back by the wind, and I'm like, what is that? So I pulled over, and the last bead of caulking that I put around was starting to deteriorate because it had only been a day and a half, not 2 days, and it was getting wet. So I was like, okay. Well, then I get to Butler, I head up on Route 8 North, I'm doing about 65, and I'm driving, and you know that sound when someone in the car opens a window and you're not expecting it? You're like, what? Oh, okay. Well, that sound happened, and I'm like, I know nobody's in my car, and I know I didn't hit the window button, and I'm looking around my windows, and I'm like, what is that? And I look up, and my sunroof plexiglass covering had gotten enough moisture in it and enough wind that it started lifting. And I look, and there's a gap this big where that plexiglass is about to blow off, exactly like the glass company guy told me it would. And so I'm like, oh. So I slowed down to 35 miles an hour, put my flashers on, and I'm driving 10 minutes up to Harrisonville on the way to Grove City, and I run into, there's a dollar store. So I run into the dollar store. Now it's still raining, and I buy a roll of white duct tape. And then I drive another mile up the road to the Sheetz gas station, pull under, and put $10 of gas in because I was running out of gas too. And I dried off the plexiglass, dried off the front of the roof enough to put 3 strips of duct tape, white duct tape, on the front of my car. And I drove the rest of the way without incident. Now, I could choose to be so angry and so annoyed and so irritated that I spent so much time doing that and it didn't work. Or I could be thoroughly amused that the way I tried to rig that up and make that happen didn't work and happened exactly like the glass company guy told me would happen. And so I told Leslie the story on my way home yesterday, and she's falling off her chair laughing with the music. She's, that is hilarious. And I'm like, I know, and we're both laughing. So I just want to ask, are there times that you could choose to be amused instead of annoyed? Are there times that you could find joy in something instead of annoyance or irritation in something? Because never let go or forget the truth and reality that your attitude is your choice. God bless you guys. Have a great day.